This episode of Inside the Game is powered by MSI Gaming. The game just got real. Head to our website at insidethegame.ca for all the details. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Game, your one-stop shop for everything cool in video games. I'm one of your hosts, Drew Beausoleil. Don't forget to head to insidethegame.ca, where there you can be a part of the show. We got another jam-packed episode, everything from zombies to war games, and of course, more VR. Can't miss out on the VR. And Rainbow Six Canadian Nationals is back. We got that on this week's episode and more. So stick around. Here's the guys with the inside scoop.
Alright RTS fans, we got some exciting news. Age of Wonders 3 is coming for free. Triumph Studios is kind of giving us a little treat before their new game comes out, so you better check it out and download it.
Ubisoft has partnered up with Hit Records to kind of do a collaboration of bringing fans of Watch Dogs Legion to have their own songs featured within the game. But it's kind of brought in a bit of a hot water. Those who were chosen, there will be 10 songs and they will be awarded $2,000, but people like Mike Bithell doesn't really agree with this.
It's up to us to take our
This sucks. Pay people for their labor. Stop exploiting fans and hobbyists while devaluing the work of those with a gall to actually expect consistent payment for work done. Do better, Ubi. We're counting on you.
Open your eyes and take a look around. Look here. Look at him. No, not him. Him. Former MI5.
Duty never ends.
He can get anywhere and erase anyone.
All you competitive Overwatch players are going to be happy to hear in the newest developer update for the game, they're actually going to install an anti-cheating mechanism, because what we found actually is there's a lot of cheating going on in the competitive realm of Overwatch, and when you're trying to get your placement matches, you only get 10, and the problem is if someone cheats right now, you can report them, but the outcome of the game is still going to be counted for your total placement matches, and it doesn't really seem fair. So what Overwatch is actually trying to do is put in this anti-cheating mode to allow for the game to be wiped out clean right off the hop, so that it'll actually take the cheaters right out of the game. And they haven't said what the punishment's gonna be, but we're assuming it's gonna be some sort of either permanent or temporary ban. And so this should hopefully reel down the amount of times this happens during the competitive play. So make sure you keep your eyes out for it, and make sure you always report those cheaters.
If you play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you're going to want to check out the third and final DLC, The Fate of Atlantis. It's out now, and Ubisoft has put out a 4-minute trailer. Check it out.
Atlantis awaits.
No!
Be my hand in laying and enforcing judgment in Atlantis.
Subscribe to never miss a video, and help us by hitting that like button. Nate, you ready to let loose?
Hell yeah.
Nate, you and I went off to war this week. We went to Hell Let Loose, Steam Early Access. What do you think of this? Man, this is quite the game. I'm gonna be honest. I had a great time playing this game.
Man, so for a long time, ever since I can remember, I've always loved Battlefield, because it was like this, hyper-realistic World War II kind of war game.
Yeah.
But man, Hell Let Loose makes Battlefield look like Call of Duty. Like, straight up, this game is so cool and immersive.
It's so intense the entire time, providing you get guys that communicate. Basically what this is, it is you're set with the US versus Germany, and it's 50 players versus 50 players, and you form your squads. So you go to the infantry, you pick the armor, and you go to recon, right? And depending on what class you pick is what group you're going to get kind of settled into. And if you go to the infantry, man, there is a list of, I want to say, 8 different classes you can pick within that one, from support, my main thing. Support, engineer is what I always went for. Rifleman was okay, or the officer, because the officer gets to call the shots.
I never get the officer, man.
It's intense to be the officer.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's all about communication. So if I was playing in the infantry and I was only like we'll call them like the grunts, right? So if I was a grunt, then I could talk to my squad and that would be it. But if I was the officer, now I'm talking to the commander who oversees the entire 50 people within that one side of the game, whether it be the US or the Germans. You're commanding that whole team and you're calling out the shots. I have never been the commander, nor do I really want to be the commander.
No, that's for the really hardcore.
And that's honestly, there's a lot of hardcore players playing this game. You'll pick a server out of 100 and some will say tactical realism, because that's how they want to play it. Is they want to go in and you know what? You got to listen to your officer. So if you're the officer, you command your group of soldiers, but then you communicate with the other officers and the commander who's running everything all at once.
I really like this kind of unique twist on the voice chat, because when I went in, I was trying to talk and no one was really communicating, but that's also because of the squad I was in. But I just had like these like higher power voices saying like, get down, because I was like in a trench, and then I stood up, and then wouldn't you know it, I got shot instantly. So that was right when I started. So right away I was like, okay, this is like, you know, hyper realistic.
There's a learning curve that comes with this game, because it gives you, the problem is it gives you very little description of what all your soldiers will do. You can go as the engineer who will take care of fortifying out the place. If you go for support, he's there to drop supplies, but that you need to drop supplies for the engineer to get the supplies to then be able to fortify the place. And then you're looking for an outpost and you need a garrison, but you can only get those if you're only the officer or the commander, certain people, or the recon infantry as well, kind of thing, right? So it depends on what class you are. They're all specialized and they all play a certain role within this game, and it's really, really important in that sense.
Yeah, I really like that, because I'm gonna reference Battlefield just because it's kind of, I guess,
it's the closest thing I can think of.
I can think of, right?
Yeah.
So there's just 4 classes in that, but within this game you got, it's just like there's like 8 classes, and then one of those classes almost, not that might be over exaggerating a bit.
Well, infantry's got 8.
Yeah.
Right? So
but it's just, oh man, it's fun. One of the cool things that I like to do is the light machine gunner, because it's not like you're a typical light machine gunner where you're just mowing down enemies. It's like, no, you're there to covering fire. You're not really shooting at enemies. Well, you're shooting at them, but you're not getting kills.
You're there to cause suppression, right? Because when you go suppressed, all of a sudden your screen goes gray and you can't see squat. And it's a lot of chaos. But on top of all that, you then get tanks that come in out of nowhere. I got crushed by a tank. I got blown up by a tank.
Oh,
I saw one of my teammates got blown up from a tank, and he flew across the screen.
Oh, man.
It was just out of nowhere. You'll be fine. You'll get picked off. No clue. Okay, so I want a kill cam. I just want a kill cam. I know you're going for tactical realism, and that as the officer,
you're not gonna get it.
No, I know I'm not. That's the biggest problem, because at the end of the day, this is a game. So I'd like to see where I got shot from. Maybe I can help kind of improve on that for the next time. But often I die and I haven't got a clue where from.
Oh man, most of my deaths, it's usually a sniper or just a random headshot while I'm kind of just trying to follow my team. But man, it's really cool. One of my favorite things too, the tanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so first tank I encountered was mine, and I was really excited. It was going down the path and everyone's following it.
Yeah.
But then I heard a couple shots, and then out of nowhere it blew up. And then what I loved was, for the remainder of the map, it stayed there.
Yes.
This burning, molting, tank corpse. It was really just a cool thing, because most of the time like bodies disappear
vanish.
And everything.
Yes.
It just kind of takes away from that realism. But this, man, like I said,
it's real.
time and time again.
is real, it's intense, it's as real as it can be within a video game, but the tension that the game builds is something I haven't really seen in a very long time. So the tank does stay there, and you can call in for more tanks to come in. You can call in for support to come and bomb other tanks for the opposing team. And the idea is, overall, is that US wants to take over the entire map, but there's certain checkpoints that you have to hold.
Sectors, they call them.
Yes, so you want to hold down the sector, and then you take over, then that map will become more of your side. But then I've seen, man, I'm
push.
three quarters of the way pushed up for our team, and then all of a sudden the other team comes and we're just completely wiped out, and it's back down 3/4 on our side. And it's just on a dime, it can change so quickly.
Because yeah, man, it's really cool. Basically, the entire premise of the game is you're just trying to take out the opposing team's HQ, and then vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So, but
Simple concept.
simple
but-
concept, but like these matches are well over an hour long. Like,
Yeah.
every time I've hopped in, it's usually around 48 minutes. So I don't know if that means it's just started or if it's well into the match. But
Well, that's just it. And honestly, so one of the game characters I want to play as the most is the sniper, and I
good
cannot
luck.
become a sniper at all. You can't get in there. It's instantly picked. Every time I had a hard time getting the rights to get that sniper. There's only 2 snipers within the entire match for your side.
for the entire 50, not your squad, your entire team.
Yes, but then they rely on the spotter. And so there's a duo team there. So you have 2 spotters and 2 snipers, and they both work together, whatever, and they set out. And the coolest part is that the snipers, the recon team, can go behind enemy lines and plant their outpost or a garrison that allows us to then spawn at these points. But then you gotta make sure you hold that, because if the other team
That's
notices
some
that you're
behind
there,
enemy line stuff, man.
that is, and it's so tense at moments. Honestly, I've never played anything like this.
No, and just to kind of top it all off, the audio in this game. My goodness, as soon as you're spawning in, it's just like constant bombs going off, planes flying over you, dropping bombs. The mortar strikes. It's really ambient and just adds to this really great experience.
And graphically, this
It's good.
game is stunning. So I have a nice setup from MSI, who's helped us out with this PC. And honestly, man, at top settings, this thing is phenomenal.
I don't know what it looks like at top settings, but on my PC, definitely some of the attention to detail, like again that tank, man. I spent not a couple minutes, but a few seconds looking at it, and I was like, man, this is really
Don't
pretty
stand
game.
still, because you get instantly picked off.
Yeah.
But I'm down. You can go prone. Obviously, this is a war fighting game, right? So you want to kind of get as low as possible at times. But I'm down. You're there in the grass. You're in the weeds. You're in the dirt. You're wherever you need to be. Is always, I found, so detailed. I went through a cornfield. Dude, that is so cool going through the cornfield. You can't see squat when you're ducked down.
And then you stand up, it's like, oh, okay, you gotta
Go back
stand
down again. It is one of the coolest things. One of the biggest things, again, missing for me, was that kill cam and more emphasis on how to use your characters.
Yeah, there was not much of a tutorial.
No.
You basically click how to play and then you just read. And some of the descriptions aren't, like you said, they're a little more vague than they could be. So one of my favorite things I like to talk about is the price on the game, and it's only $33. So this game's in early access, and at $33, it is well worth your price.
There's always a squad or a game or a match going on that you're able to jump in with, and if you can find the right people to match that with the communication, it really elevates the entire event of this game.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. So, okay, let's wrap up this review because we've, gawked over this game quite a bit.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Honestly, there's a few little minor things, right?
Minor.
Very minor. It's the lack of explanation on the classes you're choosing. I feel that it needs a little bit more description and a little more tender care to sort out how you want to use these characters or these classes and kind of match that with the rest of your team, right? So you gotta rely on your support needs to be there, so you can then give you supplies for your engineer, which then will help fortify around your garrison or your outpost or whatever. So you need an understanding of doing that more than just jumping into the game and going, oh, this is how it works, right? So something along that line. And a kill cam would be a nice little added bonus for me personally. All in all, though, for an early access build of this game, I've been having a blast. I really, really do enjoy it. I'm there with a 9.
Oh, wow, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I've got a lot of the same issues with you. One little random thing, too, when I go select a character, it likes to do this little...
Really?
Yeah, so I can't... it really irritates me, but that's just so minor, and then it'll get fixed, I'm sure, very shortly.
Yeah.
So, for me, it's gonna get knocked down to a 9 as well.
Cool.
Hell Let Loose is a great addition to the World War II FPS series, bringing realism like no other game we've ever played. The authenticity of how battles flow and the way voice comms work really enhance the experience. The wide-ranging classes and the importance they each bring, the fantastic audio and graphics slapped behind a cheap price, this game you all have to play.
All right, we're bringing back one of our favorite segments, Game Relics. This is where we talk about some of our favorites from the past. Nate, you're kicking this one off.
Alright, man, so I'm talking about Army of Two, one of my favorite co-op experiences. You guys play it, right?
Yeah,
Oh, man, so I've played through the entire series. I actually 100%ed all the games.
Oh, wow.
Except for a couple of the few achievements that are like ridiculous or multiplayer based. But yeah, me and my brother went through it, and anyways, had to know what happened to this great series. So anyways, the third game actually wasn't that great. It was fun, but it was fun. It was a good game, but it wasn't nothing compared to the first two.
No.
Anyways, what ended up happening was Visceral Games, they closed down. And in development of the game, yeah, exactly, a lot of these companies, but what ended up happening was the morale of the team was so low, and this one new guy actually got hired in, and he kind of half saved the company. Half saved it, or not the company, but the game.
Yeah.
So the game came out, it was alright, but not great, and then EA is just like, alright, close the gates.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So it's kind of too bad. I don't know. I hope, like, it's just, it was like one of the best co-op games, man.
It was cool. I remember playing with my brother. We had a great time, man.
It was split screen co-op,
and
man.
then,
I feel like it kind
you
of
got the
got replaced
aggro
by-
going on, right?
Yeah,
So-
that whole aggro system was really cool, man.
Co-op's come a long way though, so it's hard to see maybe how they would change that game from what it was to fit now, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if
They
it
could
fit.
do it.
Yeah, nothing's impossible,
I
right?
tried out, yeah.
Hey, man, I still play my Windows 97 computer game.
Yeah, that's not bad.
If it's good, you gotta play it. 'Cause that's what these game relics are. They're just things we've forgotten about and remembered again.
Definitely.
Murray, looks like we're at a dead end.
Check that. Found a door.
So for this game relic for me, I chose Jet Set Radio.
What?
Now, a little bit unheard for some people because it was a very stylized game.
Oh, it's got
Jet
an art
Set-
style in its own, man.
Oh yeah. So Jet Set Radio came out on the Dreamcast. It was a in-house development, first-party Dreamcast development. It was a great game. Everybody loved it, well received. It had several versions of it come out, and it did have a sequel. The sequel came out 2 years later, 2002 now. We're finally getting to the Xbox, and it's the same style of game. You're these skate kids, you're grooving around to this music.
It's
very-
quite- it's
it's
quite
almost
the game.
90s themed. It's just a very kind of odd timepiece. And you're skating around, spraying graffiti on everything, and kind of pushing back the cops and fighting with
cool
other
game.
crews. And it was a very stylized, very music-based kind of unique game. And we haven't seen anything kind of similar to that. Now it has had a couple revival times. They almost tried. They tried to make it for the Wii, and Nintendo wasn't interested. More recently, they tried to make it the Sony. They went to Sony for it, and they sounded interesting, but for some reason they just cut development to it. It didn't see the light of day. There is a spiritual kind of successor. Now that's known as Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
And if you've never played that or any of the Jet Sets, you should definitely check that one out because it is
It's
a
a cool, they're
solid
cool
game.
games. Very cool. Very different, but very
Jet Set Radio Future. Tune into the new revolution.
Ready T for Team. New and only on Xbox.
Guys, I picked Ape Escape for my game relic. I'm gonna throw it way back. I was 11 years old when this game came out, 1999. I don't want to date myself, but yeah, this was actually a huge game on the Sony PlayStation platform. It's a platform-style game where actually these monkeys on these islands all over this world have managed to get their hands on some smart technology in the form of a helmet that turns them kind of cognitive. They start acting like humans, but they have a kind of a dark intentions, and you're actually a main character that goes around and with a bunch of different gadgets, whether it be nets or traps, and you actually have to capture all these apes. And this game came out in 1999 on the first PlayStation, the original PlayStation. I remember playing the crap out of this game.
Really? I never played this
You know
one.
what? It just an adventure style game. Like I said, I was 11 years old. It kind of fit with, you know, what I liked at the time, but they've made so many iterations of this game. A couple years later, they came out with Ape Escape 2 on the PlayStation 2, and that game was actually just as successful as the first one. But after that, between North America and Japan, scattered all the way through to up to 2010, they've made a ton of different versions of this game, knockoffs. It wasn't always just Ape Escape 3, 4, 5. It was, you know, they had one that was heavily co-op based. They had a bunch of different styles. And they kind of just recycled the name over and over again, and eventually it just kind of died out because of that, I think.
And they even appeared in Metal Gear.
Exactly. So there was a lot of things.
Funny.
They really pushed, because of the success from the first original games, I think they really wanted to ride the name out, and they just kind of killed it on their own a little bit. It was a great game, and for its time, they actually said it was one of the best platformers that came out for the PlayStation. And funny enough, little fact, it was the first game that required the DualShock analog controller. You had to have it to play the game. So that was actually a cool little touch.
Okay.
And it'd be interesting to see if they ever brought that game back, because I think it'd be a great game for like Switch or something like that. But or the Vita, maybe. They did have a Vita. They did have a Vita version, but it wasn't very good. So.
Ape Escape was in PlayStation Battle Royale as well.
It it transcended quite a few years. It was a big game for the PlayStation when it first came out.
Nice. I'm gonna wrap it up some with a series everybody knows. I'm talking about Burnout.
Oh,
Yeah. Everybody knows this game, right? Well, exactly. So this started in 2001 when it initially came out. It had enough success that it came out with a sequel, Impact. Right, Point of Impact came out then, but it didn't really take off until Takedown. So the third in the series itself, and that's kind of when it exploded and introduced the crash mode and the whole crash thing when it slow-mo.
Oh, that was so cool.
That's one thing.
How many hours, man?
Oh, there's so many hours. My brother and I just sat there. We could play for days, right? Just how many points can you get? We're gonna crash
How many
into this.
millions of dollars can we cost?
Exactly.
It's
That
true.
was a fun
But
mode,
they
yeah.
make slow motion makes everything fun.
Well, it does, right?
Yeah.
Criterion had a bit of trouble, of course, dealing with EA, and then Criterion wanted to kind of venture off and do their own thing and do something completely different from the Burnout Racing series. So that kind of took a bit of a backseat moving forward. All in all, though, we saw 8 Burnout games total.
Pretty good.
Yeah, Burnout Paradise was another good pickup when the series. They actually remastered that for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
So you can kind of get that if you want to check out the Burnout series. But after that, we kind of left in the dirt. They only really made a remaster. They haven't really made anything fresh. There's been other iterations from other companies that try to take a little bit of the piece of the pie that they created, but it wasn't enough. So all in all, I really don't know if we're going to get another Burnout. Who really wants to sit down for hours
And crash cars.
and just crash cars
It,
anymore?
it might be a dated,
It was a thing at the time.
Yeah, and
But
when
it
you
was
get
so
you
good.
get games like Forza Horizon, just
Yeah.
anything to do with the Forza series out there,
Exactly.
and even the Need for Speed games when they were around, like there's lots of racing games out there, and just
Arcade racers, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's tough to say that they would ever bring something like that back. But man, did we ever have a heck of a fun time playing that game when I was out.
We
It
had
was
a
a good
blast.
one.
I love crashing stuff up.
Yeah.
Corey, I got nothing, but this is Kill Squad. Corey, you and I jumped into a 4-person co-op game called Kill Squad.
Yeah.
What do you think of this one?
This one's cool. Very action RPG focused, a little more on the action side of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But definitely had some cool RPG elements. So let's set the stage here.
Sure.
You're looking at kind of a top-down view.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, exactly. Very
all
sci-fi.
sci-fi.
I thought the level design was great. I thought the way
very
everything
cool.
looked was really nice.
Yeah.
It looked fairly polished. You get 4 characters to choose from the beginning. Kind of 4, I won't say heroes, but maybe anti-heroes.
They're called.
Yeah.
They classify them as heroes.
Yeah,
Right?
I wouldn't say this is the look of your typical heroes. Some
No.
of them cool characters. I thought the way they designed them was really nice, and they all have kind of very different abilities.
Yeah, I went with Zero. He's kind of my class, but I thought he had a laser beam that shot out,
Yeah,
which
that
I thought
was
was
his kind
cool.
of standard attack.
But I upgraded that laser beam as I progressed through. But the only difference I found with doing that was I upgraded the abilities and the appearance of it.
Yeah.
But it didn't actually change the function of my laser.
It's the same thing.
It kind of, it was just another laser beam shot, right? It was
Yeah.
just laser beam, and away it went. But it gave you other abilities. So one laser, it was just shot, whenever you shot, hit right in front of you, and that was it. Another, I upgraded that, and then the minute it goes through like all the enemies, and all of a sudden it takes like you like that, and
Yeah.
you're surrounded, right? Which is
Oh
like,
man, the horde, they
holy!
come pretty quick.
The hordes come fast and they're heavy too, and they come in. But with the laser, because I had it set, I upgraded it. It went through everybody. So the minute it shot through 3 people,
Yeah, you would
or
get
3 of these,
stacking targets kind of thing.
Exactly,
Which
it
they
nailed
do
them
in this
all.
game a lot.
That was
because there's a
fantastic.
lot, but that works for your character.
It did for
But
me.
there's some characters. I can't remember the guy I chose, but he has like a pistol, and his actually
is that
ability.
the Jason face guy?
Yeah, no, that's the
that's
first character.
yeah,
actually.
gotcha.
I can't remember his name. It's killing me now. But anyways, he's got a pistol. One of his
Yeah.
abilities is as you shoot different characters or different enemies, it'll target them for a 3-second period.
Yep.
So you can shoot as many enemies as you can before those targets close. And actually, one of your special abilities is to fire off shots at all of them.
man.
But the thing is, when you get stacking opponents, my shots only hit those front guys. So I found myself rotating around a lot to try to mark as many guys as I could before I used the ability.
Okay.
So depending on the character you choose, you really have to approach, especially in solo play, really have to approach the battles a certain way. You really have to play off those strengths. And the skill tree, I thought, was actually fairly large for the RPG side of this game, because you can upgrade them multiple times, but like you said, it doesn't really change.
You upgrade during the round though. It's not like
Which
you,
is, yeah.
It was okay. So I'm playing the game, and I'm like, oh, upgrade tree, cool. I go in the menu. I'm like, I'm clicking. I'm like, I'm not upgrading anything at all.
Yeah.
Why? But and I figured out, because as you play through the game, that's when you upgrade all your stuff. So I had this, dude. I got this one. It was a bomb. I saw this bomb, and it's just this huge sphere. It goes. And everybody in his path, it just annihilated. It was fantastic. I'm like, I had this big boss fight. I'm like, ha, take this, dragon gone.
And that's the thing.
It's
There's
so
boss
cool.
fights in this game too. So
In the middle of the level. It's
Hey.
not just like at the end either, right?
Exactly. And the way the levels are set up is like they're like contracts. So you
Yes.
kind of you get to choose, and it kind of tells you the power level, suggested power level you should be at to take that on. And I mean, you
Yeah.
could go in with one that's a little bit higher and gain a little more experience, but it's going to be a lot more difficult.
A lot
And that's
tougher.
where playing solo starts to hold you back.
Sure.
Because you start getting in, and these hordes of enemies start coming at you, and if you don't necessarily have the right abilities, or your abilities aren't upgraded enough, you end up just getting swarmed, and your health bar is pretty good, I found, but it runs out fairly quick if you start getting hit. Like, if you start getting swarmed, it's tough to come back from that.
I didn't like how they have the health function working. You have to drop a med kit and then pick it up to heal yourself. I'm like, I'm already holding on to it. Why would I drop it and pick it up to heal me? That doesn't make any sense at all.
No, I know.
That really took me out of it. The other part is too, it's contracts. There's no story within the game.
No, it was
And
very just like pick one of these characters
And
jump
go.
in. And it's enjoyable. Don't get me
Sure.
wrong. Like I said, everything looks really good in this game.
It's
I thought
very
the
pretty.
audio was really good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The weapons sounded great. There isn't any real voiceover going on.
No.
So, I mean, you're going to get, it's kind of a, not a basic experience, but you're not getting a whole lot of depth with it. It's going to be
Yes.
the same thing over and over again. But as is a lot of action RPGs, is you're going to run into, it's a hack and slash style game, more of a
Can
shooter
be.
in this one.
Yep.
There is a melee character. She has a katana that she uses, but again, has a lot of special abilities as well.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's just, for me, I really enjoyed it, but there are things that, man, it's just like, you play with 4 people, it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
But, I don't know.
It's
I feel
missing.
Like they're
It's
missing.
missing.
Just a little, like a story would have been great.
It would have been fantastic, because all you're doing is you're looking to upgrade your vector.
Yeah.
And as you upgrade, it allows you to get into other contracts. But that's it. There's no, okay, go beat this boss, one contract. go secure this point, another contract, and it's always at the end of the levels where you have to progress, right? Yeah. So we had to protect one tanker.
Yeah.
And I had to go through all these monsters and creatures and things just to go to this thing to move it 50 feet.
Yeah.
And that was it. I'm like, okay, but why am I doing this? Explain to me why I need to go out and do these contracts. That would have been a lot more drawing into the game, whereas really just lacking. I'm just pick this contract, pick that contract, and do this one.
Especially
and then do it again.
Solo experience, that leaves a lot to be desired. And the contract picking and just kind of jumping into a level and going after the enemies is something that would definitely flourish a lot more with that co-op multiplayer aspect of this game, and that's where people I think are really going to enjoy this one.
Yeah,
I mean, playing a solo playthrough, I think the difficulty level would be what draws a lot of people to do something like that. But at the same time, it's like you said, there's just solo. It's like there's just not enough. Doesn't feel like there's enough content or enough, depth to this one.
It's missing the depth.
But it's a good game.
It's a great game.
I think it's a lot of fun.
It's just missing enough to kind of keep you invested in the game, to keep coming back to find out why you're on these planets and sent out to do these contracts.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Drew. Well, that's our review of Kill Squad. What do you think you're going to give this one?
So I had a great time, but again, it all falls back to the lack of a story and the depth of the characters. Why do I want to pick this character over that character? Abilities. That's it, really, right?
Yeah.
There's no story drive. There's no reason why I'm out kind of finishing these contracts.
No.
So as good as the action is and the gameplay is, without that story, I kind of have that disconnect. So I'm there with the 6.5.
All right, that's fair. Actually, you know what? I'm right in there with you. Everybody knows I'm more of a multiplayer guy, and experiencing this game multiplayer definitely, I think, steps it up from playing solo. I enjoyed my time playing this game solo. It is difficult. I love the graphics, love the audio. The gameplay was really smooth. I felt the controls were fairly simple to learn. It was nice to be able to kind of customize some of them. The abilities were really nice. The RPG elements of this game as a whole were simple but nice. Again, they didn't change as much as you maybe would want them to do in an RPG.
Sure.
But I'm a multiplayer guy, and I can see the potential this game has, so I'm going to be a little bit higher with you. I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Nice.
Kill Squad delivers a fun ARPG experience that players will enjoy. The fast-paced combat is definitely done well in this one. The environments look great, and the overall audio was great as well. But the lack of a story in this one leaves you kind of empty as you just complete contract after contract without much direction. Fans of this style of game should definitely give it a look though.
Old Dr. Mario fans, they're jumping into this new one, and for good reason. This one's a ton of fun. I never played the original one that much, but now that I'm playing the new one on mobile, they've changed a few things up. We're not going top down with the pills anymore, we're swiping up. And when I say swipe, you can bring everything around as long as you got your finger on it. Let me tell you, this game's a lot of fun. They bring you right into it. The tutorial levels are a lot of fun to kind of get into it and learn kind of the new changes of this game, because there are a lot of them. But as an original fan, I think a lot of people are going to love the new adaptation, and there's going to be a whole lot of new things, plus multiplayer, head-to-head with your friends, real time. It's a blast. You guys got to check this one out.
So in this week's VR title, we're checking out Job Simulator. We're working on becoming
a true grease monkey. Get under the
grease
hood and
monkey,
get
apparently.
your hands dirty in our simulated mechanics shop.
I've already mastered a gourmet chef. Put my skills to the test here. This is more of a goofy job simulator game. There's
Hello, human. This
Hello.
is an accurate
So we're
simulation
overrun
of
by
auto mechanic.
robots. We're basically the only human around that could help any of these robots out by achieving whatever needs necessary here. So you can be a store clerk,
Back in the age of
a
capitalism,
grease monkey auto
shops
mechanic,
like this would
apparently.
be hesitant to question a customer's needs.
Oh, look at this guy. He doesn't look very trustworthy.
Hey, human! I need an emergency paint job. I suddenly decided I hate the color of this car.
All right.
Totally normal thing to do. I'm not on the run or anything.
Give this spot whatever they want.
We'll give him a hand
It's
here.
not our concern.
We'll give him a paint job. And this is basically what you do throughout the entire game, is just these little odd jobs.
I could really use some
kind
more
of thing.
gas, too, if you want to fill it up. I've been on the run. I mean, I've been having fun. Just put some gas in, please.
The whole game is based off of... There we go. Just kind of doing these little tasks. They're quirky, though. That's the thing. The whole thing is... It's a quirky...
Great.
Interesting
Let's wrap
title.
this up by
It's funny.
Giving me a new license plate?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Just to really drive home that unique new look.
Alright, alright. Let's see. What do we want to pick here? Oh, I think so. I'll just take this one off. There we go.
Perfect. Just finish up whatever you're doing and drop the car so I can leave normally. Okay, just give me the bill. You know I've got the cheddar.
Another happy customer. This is what we do.
You never saw me.
Job
all right?
simulator. No, I never saw you at all. Alright, we're doing overtime as a chef now.
Human, can you get me a selection of food items?
Yeah.
I could use
Let's see.
Bacon.
in my meal.
Bacon. Everything's this kind of quirky little mechanic. What do we got? Just bacon? There we go.
I could really use
Smoothie.
to cool me down.
I see. Alright, we got the blender going. Toss in whatever you want, really. Give me an egg, tomato. It's gonna be an awesome smoothie. A mushroom. Oh my god, this is gonna be real bad. There. But he's a robot. He doesn't care. Put that under there. Fill it up. Nice.
Add an order of
Apple.
to munch on.
There we go. Quirky mechanics. Little more or less a mini game. It's kind of how I perceive this. So you're in, you're out. You're having a good time. You stick around. Overall, Job Simulator is that quirky, over-the-top robot barking orders sometimes at you. The mechanics of the robots and the conversations that they carry on throughout the game are humorous at times. Overall, I had a good experience. I'm here with a 7. Job Simulator is a quirky VR title that will have you laughing and mishandling everything. Goofy controls to goofy customers and tasks, but none of the jobs felt very challenging.
Looks like it'll taste interesting.
Pistons in the engine, Tonitos.
Delicious.
All right, and what do we got this week? Zombies?
Billions of them.
Billions. All right, Corey, this week we checked out a zombie game, Billions. They are billions.
Yeah, kind of an interesting name, eh?
Yeah, I had heard about this once before, but jumping right into it, it's the title says it all. And what's left to know about it is that it's an RTS game. So
yeah, it's an RTS game with a bit of a spin. And we were kind of talking about this. It's kind of like Warcraft. It brings you back more to Warcraft than anything else.
Yeah.
Except all the enemies are zombies, so hordes of zombies.
It's just kind of like Warcraft 2 if you try not to explore the map too much.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what it's like, our closest comparison. And you know what, as far as an RTS to console, because this was originally came out on PC, and now we've got it released on Xbox, which we both played it on. My big thing, I always kind of think when RTS games come to console, the big thing for me is that I'm so used to playing those games keyboard and mouse. How are they going to bring it to the controller and make it seamless? And this game, they kind of did it. There are some things I didn't quite get into that you did that kind of made things streamline a little bit more for you. Yeah, little shortcuts with button keys kind of get you around certain menus so you're not kind of scrolling. Because what I found is I had to really adjust my sensitivity because I was kind of like all over the place with the cursor.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of everything too that's going on. So you're jumping around with building to building. You're trying to keep track of you keep your units pumping out and your everything upgrading as it becomes available. So there's a lot of jumping around on the map. I started using the pause button, X and Y on the Xbox controller to bring me to these menus really fast, and start brings you right back to the main hub of your base. So I was getting used to that, and it kind of brought me to the Halo Wars feeling, where this is on console, it is an RTS, but I feel like because of the pause button especially, I can keep up with everything and I can make decisions in real time. So I wasn't hindered at all by that part of the game.
Yeah, you weren't kind of getting overwhelmed with the decisions you have to make because kind of time's ticking down. So kind of to set the game up, when you first jump in, they've kind of stripped down the original game from PC. We are losing a few features that the PC game does have for console, and I'm not sure if they're planning on bringing them to console or not, but for now we've kind of got a base version of this game, which is more than enough to play, because let me tell you, it's difficult.
Yeah. It's hard.
And they actually let you set the difficulty of this game before you start, and with a few different options. And I actually started with just the default, what happens to be easy, but there's actually the easiest.
I'm not sure what they call easy and what hard actually means, because it's all hard. Now, there's, the difficulty bar itself determines how long you have to build up your colony before the zombies come at you.
Yeah.
Whether it's like, could be 80 days, could be 100 days, could be 150 or something
and
like
the longer time you have, it's supposed to be easier because it gives you more time to set up your colony and your base and your defenses, because the idea is to make it to the end of that section of days, whether it's 150 days or 80 days, and kind of hold off the hordes throughout the entire game. And they kind of show up every 10 days or so, minus the odd straggler you just run into around the map, which you can also control, like you said.
That's another difficulty bar is the starting population of the zombies on the map. So you can kind of be forgiven a little bit when you're exploring out on the earlier.
Yeah, you won't always attract certain hordes, because let me tell you, the first round I jumped in, you get about 4 soldiers to start and a town hall. And there's really not a tutorial with this game, which I think this game definitely could benefit from if they had even just a simple tutorial to kind of get you to move around the user interface a little bit, just to kind of understand what all the buttons are, because everything actually takes resources, energy. It is involved.
There's a lot of resource pools. So for somebody who's not necessarily done these kind of games before or remembers all the way back to Warcraft 2, they're gonna hit a wall because this game is just so hard.
Yeah, you kind of have to know what you're doing without them telling you what you're doing. So it's a lot of trial and error. And the nice thing about this game is that as quick as your town gets taken over, you can just kind of throw yourself back in and start over. But that's the problem. If the zombies infiltrate and start taking out your base and start, you hear the screams of your people, and I know it's terrifying. They'll wipe your base out, and that's it. You're done. That's game over. You have to start fresh again.
It's very hard.
And go from that.
It's very hard to stop that from pouring in, too. Once you get
it starts.
One little straggler zombie makes it beyond the wall, and they take down a house. That house has people in it. They've caught the infection, and now there's 6 zombies in your place. And then the next house falls.
And it multiplies.
And then your guys are making their way back from the turrets and the towers, but it takes too long. It's difficult.
Heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking, but you know what? This is what about this game that kind of draws me in, because it's such a challenge. You get wiped out and you're like, all right, what can I do different next time, right? So you want to jump back in and try a different strategy.
Let's prioritize walls.
Yeah, set up your civilization just a little bit differently. Have this building here, a post over here. Move your fences around. Make maybe your perimeters a little smaller so your troops can get around. There's so many aspects to this game that, just anybody that's into an RTS game is really going to love. And then having this kind of twist where these hordes of zombies kind of keep attacking.
And it's just a time trial against them. It leads for very intense gameplay.
Yeah, and they also actually have a weekly challenge mode, which I thought was really nice. It's not just, kind of throw you into the regular challenge that you can just, pick your 80 to 150 days. There are maps you can unlock if you do make it to the end. I believe there's about 6 or 7 maps total for right now. I don't know if they haven't announced if they're bringing any more maps out, but the weekly challenges is kind of like, it puts you in more of like a scenario, and you have to kind of deal with the scenario. And I thought that was kind of cool. It's kind of a nice little change. So if you want to switch it up from just playing the base game and, this is maybe a little bit shorter, a little faster, it's kind of a nice little addition.
Now, I jumped into one of those challenges, and I think it was just maxed out difficulty. So right off the start, there was hordes everywhere. I could barely move. I think that was kind of a cruel challenge. But it's cool that they have something other than just the sandbox style of play that came with the Xbox version.
Definitely. Scott, in this one I found with the controls, like we said earlier, I kind of wish this one was on keyboard and mouse, but because it is on console, we are playing with controller. And you did find some shortcuts that worked for you, but for me, right off the get-go, I found it kind of difficult. I was moving my cursor around and the sensitivity was a little high, and it was, I was hitting the sides of the screen, and then it was setting the whole, the whole camera angle off, and I found myself kind of running around my small little base just trying to figure it out, and it was a little difficult to get used to, and I had to adjust the sensitivity a little bit so I wasn't really throwing the cursor around as much, but then again, I'm also not as reactive with the cursor either. I mean, it's more of a tutorial for me, just picking this game up to start.
Yeah, just trying to get into it.
Yeah, and so for me, it was a little challenging to get past that controller setup, but again, like you said, there are some shortcuts that kind of let you streamline, picking certain items on the user interface and things like that, so it does make it, a little bit easier, but for people that are used to playing RTSs with, keyboard and mouse, if they do have a console and they pick this one up, it could be a bit of an adjustment period.
Oh, it is a little difficult, especially when the game starts so zoomed in.
Yeah.
And then when you're zooming out and jumping around to the different areas and you want to go left for the zombie horde and then right for the next one and that kind of thing, it gets a little cumbersome to kind of control and get into it.
And you need to zoom in because, like we said, if you could have, once you start to establish a bit of a community, there are a lot of buildings inside your walls, and if one loose guy gets in there, you can hear the screams of the people, and you're trying to find out where he is.
That's your best indicator, yeah.
So you're zooming in and out, trying to pinpoint parts of your city to try to find where he is. And actually, I noticed when you zoom in, the detail in this game is actually really good. I like the art style. It's kind of a comic book cartoon style, but it's not, by no means is it, kiddish or anything like that. It kind of fits the overall feel for this game, I thought. I thought everything kind of looked good.
It did match the kind of darkness and the color palette of it. It did look good, even though it wasn't the highest resolution.
No, definitely not. Yeah, it's not this, sharp, crisp image, but everything kind of fits this gameplay. It all works really smoothly with each other. The audio fit in there really well. I thought, like I said, there's, when the zombies attack, you can hear your people in your town screaming. This is not a horror game by any stretch, but it is kind of horrifying when that happens because you're like, oh no, the end is near.
Well, I saved the town and they never stopped screaming. So there might be a few issues that they're gonna iron out, bringing this from the PC to the console, but overall, it seems to be a pretty polished package, and the audio cues were very memorable for this game.
Yeah, like if there's one thing I will remember from this game, it is the screams of the people in my village.
Shortly followed by my screams because I lost again.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Scott? We had a lot of fun playing this one. If you got to give this one a score, what are you going to do?
I have to look at this as a whole package. This is the game I kind of didn't really know that I wanted, but it's the Warcraft-style RTS game that is my style. It's the zombies that I wanted to play. It's really fun to make this base, to keep it alive as long as you can, and when you get into these later buildings, when you're improving your tech tree and stuff, there's a lot to this game. It's deep, and it's difficult, and it keeps you coming back for more. I love this one. I'm going to have to give this an 8.5.
8.5. All right, you know what? I'm almost right there with you. There's a few things, like I said, the controls is something that really kind of threw me off at the beginning, but the biggest thing for me is, at a game like this that does have so much detail later on in the game, I wish there was a bit more of a tutorial. And maybe they will adapt with the console version and bring a few more details from the PC version down to console and make it a little bit easier, just for people jumping into this maybe for the first time they've ever been in a genre like this. I just see, it's a very niche if you don't have a tutorial.
It does.
And it's just, only certain people are going to be able to pick it up. But again, this is a great game. I thought it looked good, challenging as heck. I had so much fun playing this one. I'm going to be right there with an 8.
They Are Billions is not for the casual RTS gamer. Even on the easiest difficulty settings, you'll find yourself challenged right from the beginning. But don't let that scare you off. The difficulty is actually what keeps you hooked. Trying to build off and fend off waves of zombies is a blast when you start to get the feel for the user interface. Getting used to the controller for an RTS game can be the hurdle in this one, but once you learn the button shortcuts, you're going to find yourself really enjoying it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos.
Rainbow Six Canadian Nationals are back. Round 2 just cleared up for the qualifiers, so let's get you all caught up with the recap. So things got started off with the registration in May and June, setting up for Stage 1 qualifiers. From there, we'll be heading into the Stage 2 qualifiers for September and October after they've registered from August and September. And then grand finals coming October 19th at EGLX, where we will be there covering the event live, so stop by and say hello. Then we get into where it all comes down to the grand finals. So how this league is set up is, starting in June from the 29th to the 30th, the open qualifiers, 4 teams. The top 4 teams will be moving on. From there, heading into each week. Every week, we'll start dwindling the teams down from the top 4 teams to the top 2. Then, of course, to our grand finals on October 19th. And everybody likes to see that big cash prize money. This is what they're going for. They're going for $15,000 overall. First place is going to take $10,000. Second place will take $3,000. Third, going for $1,500. And fourth place, coming away with $500 for a team. Not too bad at all. A little bit of cash for the guys to walk away with. To get our qualifiers started, we have Looney Toonies going up against last year's champions, Team Canada. Easily the team favorite to be returning this year. And good potential of taking it at all. We'll see what Looney Toonies can pull off here. Followed up by them will be Honor Esports and Supernova. Supernova, formerly known as IDK, just got picked up and now it's switched over to Supernova. As we can see here, not looking good for Looney Toonies as Team Canada has taken a pretty substantial lead going into match point. This is the second round. It was a little closer in the first round for Looney Toonies, taking a couple wins, but not enough to pull it out. As we can see, Team Canada taking the lead, already up 1 match. Going into the second one, this is where Looney Toonies needs to get it together. Can they pull it off? Let's find out. As the game starts, we're already down 2 operators apiece. That's alright, Looney Tunes can pull it out, but they just lose another one. Not a very good round going at all, but they just tied up for 2-2. This is very important for Looney Tunes to get this sorted out. They need to get their team together and hang on for EGLX in Toronto. Oh, look at that. Frosty takes down Evil Waffle. It is so close. Team Canada only has 1 left. Can Looney Tunes get it together? Team Canada has this opportunity as Brian takes a headshot. 1-on-1 now. This is it. All resting on Looney Tunes to pull this one off. Brian's going to scramble as he moves in. Bit of a spray. No luck there. Is he able to see that? Got the plant down. Is that enough? Oh, there it is. Nice 4K to save Team Canada and send them 1 step closer to EGLX. Couple little highlights of the night from Brian. This beautiful grenade toss right in the window. 2 more plays from Brian to finish off the night. That little headshot right there, what an outstanding play. And one last one where he sealed the deal, ending it for Looney Toonies. Following Team Canada and Looney Toonies was Supernova and Honor Esports. And as you can tell, 1 round apiece right now. This was some intense gameplay all night long. Currently, Supernova leading the charge with 6-4. But the charge isn't over. There's only 20 seconds left and the plant is down. Honor Esports is so close to getting this. Bruder just shut things down. And that is it. Supernova will be moving on. Semifinals taking on Team Canada. That is going to be one heck of a battle to watch. And this will bring us to the Week 1 final standings. Right now we have Team Canada facing off Supernova in the next round. As I said, that will be one heck of a battle. You do not want to miss that one. I cannot wait to see if Team Canada can still hold the title to move on. Now moving into Week 2, we have Livid Gaming versus Thread the Needle. And Team 6 going up against Psychopaths Gaming. Matches have been tight as we're heading back and forth all night long with Romulus here going to work. He gets one. Is he able to get the other? Livid Gaming right now winning 6-4. However, Romulus not able to find the other guy. Gets knocked. He's going down. It's now 2v2 as Darkin is going to work. And you can see it's only all up to Darkin now as Alpha is hurt. He is just sitting there. Not much he can really do but sit and wait. See what Darkin can do. Is he able to pull it off? He's killed 2 already. He's got 1 more to go. Darkin gets him through the ceiling as Alpha's sitting right beside London. Not much either one can do. Trying to get the plant down, and that leaves it all up to Darkin to finish things off. And that there will seal the deal for Livid Gaming, giving them map number 1, the best 2 out of 3. Thread the Needle needs to work on a comeback, see if they can get it together in the next map. Thread the Needle is on a comeback, already up 0-3, and Wolfsies, what a shot! Just takes out Romulus out of nowhere. Just saw a little glimpse of him go by. That was enough for him to take him out. To watch this is an incredible shot. Eventful. Just a 1. Where does that come from? How do you even pull that off? Doesn't even see him. Just enough of a glimpse. Must have been just a pixel away just to get that shot off. Wolfsies just going to town. This is enough for Thread the Needle as Wolfsies takes 3 from the round. And another win for the team. Up 4-0 for Livid Gaming. Livid Gaming's got some work needed to be done to see if they can make a comeback. They've got a lot of work ahead of them. Livid Gaming are not done yet. The plant is down by Thread the Needle. Half the time is left and Livid Gaming's got to get to that plant. There's only 3 people left. It's all up to Alpha. Darkin was there, but he's now been taken out. He gets 1. Bleeding Out is now finished. Toasty's just upstairs. He got him. That is outstanding. Alpha Tag saving the day, keeping them alive, going into another round. Livid Gaming coming with a major comeback. Unfortunately for themselves, though, they were not able to pull it off with Thread the Needle just taking the win, but they came from an 0-4 deficit, winning 5 rounds. 5 rounds to come back and almost steal the game away from Thread the Needle. That would have been such an upset by Thread the Needle when you were already up with such a major lead. To come back, be like Livid Gaming, and make a huge upset would have been one of the plays of the year for the Rainbow Six Canadian Nationals. The last match of the night came down to this, the final round between Psychopaths and Team 6. Plant is down. It is 7-7. The tension between the 2 teams has got to be at an absolute ultimate high. You have to get this to move on to the next round. They've got to push this. The plant's down. He's going to go and disable the plant, but he gets the pick. Celio gets the shot off, gets the headshot, and the win to move on to face Thread the Needle in the next round. What an outstanding matchup. That was intense. Going the distance, 15 matches for that one. But this will bring us into the current standings with Team Canada and Supernova facing each other next. Then Thread the Needle and Psychopaths Gaming to end off the first qualifying round. And then we'll be back in September for more Rainbow Six Siege action. So stick around as there's lots more Canadian Nationals to be seen.